spoke, I was telling you how we arrived in Brazil after a long overnight flight. I have my notes here on the side, so sorry I keep like switching back and forth. So we arrived in Sao Paulo. The main reason that we were going there was for a friend's wedding. My husband's friend, it was actually the first time I was going to meet him. He's Brazilian, but they met in the States many, many years ago, and they kept in contact, and they're still, friends. So we were there for his wedding. So we arrived really early that morning. It was probably like 6 in the morning, and we're getting all our like luggage and trying to decide if we wanted to rent out a car or just use Uber, and we ended up just using Uber. It was a big like group of us, so we ended up having to use like 2 or 3 different cars. It was very interesting because so the airport that we stayed at was an hour, or the airport that we arrived in was an hour away from the Airbnb that we were staying at. So it's like an hour-long drive, and my husband and I, we don't speak any Portuguese. And our Uber driver did not speak English or Spanish, but it was so cool because, like, the first, like, 10 minutes were, like, awkward and quiet. But then after that, we were, like, trying to communicate with each other, and, like, we would talk in Spanish, and the Uber driver would talk in Portuguese, and, like, it's similar enough that we were able to, like, understand each other. So we were able to, like, understand each other, or understand, like, bits and pieces of it to be able to connect all the dots and, like, understand the conversation. And that first Uber driver was so nice. It was just really enjoyable, like, 1 hour drive. But we were just like, I don't know, just talking, and I'm sitting there thinking like, wow, life is so cool. Like, look at us being able to communicate with each other without even knowing like how to speak the other language. And I don't know, I was just amazed in that moment. So we finally get to the Airbnb. We load all our stuff out, and everyone, is exhausted, and I think I tried taking a nap, but I wasn't able to sleep much, and we had to pretty much get up and get ready to go pretty quickly after arriving, because we had a lunch reservation at a restaurant that I believe is a 3 Michelin star. I don't know if that's how you say it. It was like a nice restaurant. Not nice, it was highly rated, and it was nice. My brother-in-law used to work in like the restaurant industry, and so he was like, we have to check out this place, and luckily we were barely able to get reservations, and it was like 3 months in advance that we made it. Like, pretty much as soon as their book opened up for that date, like, we made reservations, and like we barely made it in. But the place was called what was it called? Casa de Porco. So they pretty much just had like pork-based dishes. So we get there, and they had like a tasting menu option, which is what we ended up getting. It was essentially like tapas style, and like small portions, but a lot of different like courses, or a lot of different like dishes, I guess, but they're very small portions, like a bite. The waiter told us like, if you get the tasting menu, it's like a 2 to 3 hour experience or whatever, and like we were there for 3 hours. But they would bring out the food and like talk about it a little bit and tell you how to eat it, like if there were different portions of if there were different like objects, I don't know, there were different foods on the plate. He would say, start with this, and then grab a bite of this, and then end the meal like with this. So it was super delicious. The food was really good, but my daughter was in a fuzzy mood, just exhausted from like the flight. She didn't sleep super great, and she was tired. It was time for a nap, and she has a lot of FOMO and doesn't want to miss out on anything, so she was refusing to nap. Essentially, my husband and I just took turns like standing up with her and walking outside with her and walking around with her to calm her down, and then came back and like switched throughout the meal. The cool thing though was that there were other babies in the restaurant. I feel like, here in the States, I always feel really like awkward bringing my daughter to a restaurant, and like I get so anxious, worried that she's gonna be like crying and fussy, and people are gonna give me like dirty looks. But over there, they were at least two other families that had young, like babies with them, and you know, same thing. If the baby would get fussy, they would walk around, pass the baby around. Like it was really chill, and I didn't feel like people were giving me weird looks for having a baby there or having a baby who was like crying at some points. I still try to be like considerate of others. If I'm going out to eat at a nice restaurant, I don't want a screaming child. But so if she was like crying, I would take her outside. But like at the same time, I understand now as a mom that it's hard to sometimes like calm your baby down when they are in just in a really fussy mood. So I appreciated that no one was like giving me dirty looks for my baby acting like a baby, But yeah, so really good food, really cool experience. And then from there, I want to say that we just ended up going back to the Airbnb to like finally like really rest a bit. Then in the evening, after everyone's like taking a nap, we're getting ready to go, and like the boys, so my husband and his brother went to meet up with the groom and like their friends. I don't know, at like some bar or something, and then I went with my like in-laws, so my mother and father-in-law, my sister-in-law and her husband, and then their kids, and so we went out to eat. We ended up going to like a street. I can't remember what the name was, but it was a street with a lot of different like bars and restaurants, and so we just like kind of had the Uber drop us off there, and we were kind of looking around, and we're like, let's just eat here, and we picked like a random spot. We were able to like people watch because we had a little table like outside, and that was like pretty chill. After that, my in-laws took my daughter and the other kids back to the Airbnb, and then I went with my sister-in-law and her husband to meet up with my husband and his brother, and so we met up with like the groom. I finally met the groom, and like his friends, and so we were at one bar at first and like had some shots and just like kind of chatting, and then we went like pretty much down the street to a club, and that was really cool. Just like a really cool vibe. I think I have a clip here of just like a little bit of the inside of the bar or inside of the club, and like they had like a live band and stuff, and I don't know, I was in a good mood. I was happy, I was feeling the music, and I think from there everyone was getting like a little toasty, and it was time to go home. So we ate some like pizza real quick, drank some water, and then we went back home. The tough part about going out when you have like going out partying or whatever, when you have kids, is that the next morning, like it doesn't matter what time you came home or how much you had to drink, like your baby's gonna be up at like 7 in the morning, so you have to be up at 7 in the morning. so that was like pretty chill. Then we had to rush because it was actually like we had to get ready for the wedding. So the wedding was on a Friday night, and we were actually leaving like Saturday morning. We had to go to the airport because we were going somewhere else. So I would not recommend doing that. Like, don't travel the day right after a wedding. Like, give yourself some time. At least, like, if you're gonna travel, do it in the afternoon so you're not rushing in the morning. But so we left that like hangout, and we went home, or the Airbnb, and we just started like trying to pack all our stuff, trying to pack as much as we could because we were gonna arrive pretty late from the wedding, and because the airport was so far away, like we had to give ourselves time, to make it to the airport on time, and like with traffic and everything. So yeah, so we're like trying to pack, we're trying to like get ready and like rushing, but we made it, like we got ready, and we made it to the wedding. The wedding was absolutely beautiful, like the flowers especially, and all the decor was just so gorgeous, like so gorgeous. It felt like walking in, especially to like the dining slash dancing area, like the reception area. I was just like blown away. It felt like something from a movie. But we get there, the ceremony is like really sweet and beautiful, but I couldn't understand it because it was in Portuguese, like the vowels. So people would like laugh, and I'd be like, yeah, like I'm sure that was a funny joke or whatever. People would be like tearing up, and I'm like, yeah, sure, it was good. And I could understand like bits and pieces of it because it feels like the Portuguese language is so similar to Spanish, but I couldn't like totally understand it. But it still was beautiful. The bride was gorgeous. And so after the ceremony, it was like in the same building, but like sectioned off a little differently. Like you had kind of the ceremony in an outdoorish area, and then you walked in, and the wedding was like huge. It was just huge. We made it to our table, and they're like passing around like snacks or appetizers. I'm like trying to see where the waiter or waitress is so I can like get some snacks because I'm all about that. They had a bar in the center, and you can order some drinks. What else did they have? So it was pretty standard. You had like your cocktail hour-ish where they're handing out appetizers and drinks, and then the food arrives, and it was like buffet style. But the food was super delicious. I actually ended up getting a second plate. I was hungry. But yeah, it was a very large wedding. I want to say over 200 people. But it was a lot of fun. They had the dance floor, and like the people were dancing all night. Like people went all out with the dancing, and it was just a lot of fun. And they had like different traditions. I'm trying to think, this one where I believe the groom was explaining beforehand that the original tradition was that so it's like a way to collect money, and so the groomsmen or whatever would go around asking men to like donate some money, and they would snip off a piece of the groom's tie and like give the person who donated money like a piece of the tie. And that's not right. I think that is I don't know, don't quote me on it, I'm not familiar with it, but what they did at this wedding instead is that they were going around collecting money, and if you put in money, you got like, I don't know if it was like a ticket or something like that, and they ended up raffling off like a nice bottle of whiskey or something, I don't know, a nice bottle of liquor. And then if you won though, you opened it that night, and like everyone was drinking, but it was just fun. So lots of music, lots of cool dancing, and I want to say we ended up leaving like around 2 a.m. Yeah, and when we had left, they still hadn't even like cut the cake. And I was told that Brazilian weddings go on until like 6 in the morning, like minimum. But we had kids at home, and we were getting tired too. But it was an absolutely gorgeous wedding, and I'm really happy that we went. So then the next rushing to get like last minute stuff packed and just get out of the house in time. We made it to the airport okay, but then we just had like a really annoying experience at the airport. So I'm like annoyed just thinking about it. It's really not that big of a deal, but you know, we get there and the family gets kind of like separated. Like everyone goes to like the normal line except for my husband, my daughter, and I. The guy like checking, you know, your flight info was like, all right, you guys go in the priority line because we have a baby. And that priority line was the slowest line I have ever been in my life. Like, there were only like 5 people there, but we were in that line for like over an hour. And the rest of the family, like, that went through, like, the normal line was going through so quickly. But it was just so annoying that, like, the normal line had like 6 like counters, 6 people that were helping you like check in your bags, but the priority line had 1, and they were dealing with, or they were working with like a couple. I think that they were a little bit older and they were having some issue. I don't know if it was with like printing out the boarding pass or something, but like they were there for so long with this couple, and the line was like not moving, and everyone in this priority line is getting like pretty annoyed because, you know, 10 minutes go by, then 20 minutes go by, 30 minutes go by, and we're like, we need to get going. Like, can we go in the other line? Like, we honestly should have gone to the other line, and we thought about it multiple times, but we just didn't. Finally, another woman comes in and opens up like another counter and starts helping out like the other customers. And so it's finally our turn, and we get there, and she's talking to us in Portuguese, and she's talking about like documents, and I'm like, what? I'm trying to talk to her like in Spanish. I'm like, what documents? I'm like, I don't understand like what you're asking me. She's like getting annoyed, and she's saying something about the baby and like documents, baby and documents, and I'm like, passport, and she's like, like she does like some noise and like puts her hand out, and so I give her like my passport, my husband's passport, the baby's passport, and then she keeps saying like something about baby and documents and like parents, and I'm like, that's the only document I have, like the passport. And then she's kind of saying like, oh, but what about the parents? At least this is what I think she's saying, right? And I'm like, I am her mother, like that is her father, like we are the parents, this is our baby. And then she's like, oh, well, do you have passports? I'm like, you have them in your hand. Like, if you would take the time to just open it, you would see, like, I've given you the passport, like, I've given you all the documents. So then finally she looks at it and she's like, oh, yeah. But I was just, like, so frustrated at that point because we were waiting in line for so long. And, like, the lady was, like, distracted too, like, talking to someone else and, like, not yelling at us, but, like, having an attitude with us. And I'm like, I gave you what you asked for. Like, here it is. So we finally finished there, and I'm just so mad, like, I'm annoyed, my blood is boiling, I just, like, I'm, like, over it. Whatever. So then we finally get on the plane. It's a super, super short flight. We were just going to Rio de Janeiro, and maybe like a 30-minute flight, super short. But we land, and our luggage is broken. Like, one of the wheels is just like completely off. And so I'm like annoyed again because it's like, I don't know, I just had a frustrating experience checking in our bags, and then like our luggage was broken. Like, I was just like over it, but whatever. We arrived, we made it. We get to our Airbnb, and the Airbnb is super nice. It, like, really close to the beach. Literally, if you look out the window, you see the Copacabana beach, and so it was like an awesome location. We get there, and everyone is getting ready to go to the beach, but my daughter ends up falling asleep, and like I've mentioned before, she gets like grumpy if she doesn't sleep right. So I ended up just taking a nap in the room while she napped too, and everyone else went to the beach and like went out to eat and stuff. I ended up sleeping for a while because my daughter was sleeping for a while. When they came back, my husband had brought me some like food, but they had already like eaten and had fun at the beach and all that. Then everyone like showers, we get ready, and I think we end up walking to the beach again, but this time just to kind of originally our plan was to go see Christ the Redeemer, but it was super cloudy, and so the Uber driver recommended that we actually go another day. So instead, we ended up going to the Escalas do Saladon, like a staircase. I'll show you pictures, but it's essentially like this area that just has a bunch of stairs that you can climb up. I don't know. We ended up standing in line to take a picture, which is like it's so interesting to see in today's world where everyone is all about like Instagram and like influencers or content creators. So there are people dressed up like super nice, like super cute, and their makeup all done and their hair all done. So they're like standing in line forever to like take this picture, and like we stood in line, but yeah, I don't know, we didn't. When we got there, there really wasn't anyone. Like after we took our picture and I looked back and the line was like crazy long. But yeah, so we take our picture and then we decide to walk up. I made the mistake of not bringing my daughter's baby carrier. Like I packed it for the trip, but I didn't bring it with me for this specific portion of the trip. I left it in the Airbnb. We had brought her stroller instead. It was not the move. Like that was not the way to do it. So I ended up having to carry her the entire walk up. And then my husband carried like her diaper bag and the stroller the entire walk up. We ended up switching, but like she wanted to be with me, so on the way up I was holding her, and it was a very good workout. We made it to the top. It was cute, whatever. And then we went back down and we decided to go to Pau de Azúcar, or in Spanish it's Pan de Azúcar, or I think in English it's like Sugar Loaf Mountain or something. Absolutely gorgeous. I loved it. So cool. So it's like these two mountains that look like, I guess, bread. I don't know, like a loaf of bread. But you get down there and you take a teleférico. I don't know how to say teleférico in Spanish or in English. I think I looked it up for the last video because I didn't know it, and I still don't know it. I don't remember. But we took a little rail car. No, monorail. We took a little teleférico to like the first spot, and we ended up getting like a good spot when we got in there, like by the window, so we could see the view, and it's just so cool. It was packed, like people's kind of squeezed into this car thing, this carriage, I don't know. But yeah, so we made it safely up. Yeah, they were just gorgeous views on that first like mountain that we got off on. We bought like little snacks. We didn't realize that if you walked all the way around there was like another area with like restaurants, but we just bought like a snack, a drink, and like walked around. And then there was a second higher up like mountain. So again we rode another teleférico and we get to the top, but it was just like too cloudy to really see anything from that second view, so that wasn't as nice. And it was like kind of cold up there too. So a little bit shortly after that, like we walked around a bit just to check out the angle from like the view from all angles, but it was too cloudy, so we just got back on the teleférico and went back down. After that, we were like starving at this point, so we went to this restaurant that was close by that one of the Uber drivers recommended. They had really large portions of food, so we were able to share, but it was essentially like steak, rice, beans, fried plantains. It was all really good. I liked it a lot. And yeah, that was kind of it for that day. It was a busy day, but it was good. The next day, we were finally able to go see Christ the Redeemer. It was extremely hot, and there were so many tourists, which, I mean, I shouldn't have been surprised by, but I was still, like, surprised. We made it there. We, like, took our picture, lots of pictures, and then, like, we went down. It was cool to see, but I feel like there were just too many people for me to really, like, take a minute to enjoy and see everything. There were like monkeys around there too, and in my head I'm picturing 15 minutes away that we wanted to check out. So we went there, but unfortunately it was like kind of cloudy. I didn't go in the water because like I get cold very easily, and so if it's not like burning hot, I don't really go in the water. And so since it was like cloudy and almost like rainy, well, it ended up raining, but when we were first getting there, it was just like cloudy. I just kind of hung out in the sand. Then we started walking to go get an Uber, and it starts like pouring. So we decided to leave like at the perfect time. And then that night we went to a steakhouse. So we went to Fogo de Chao, and it was good. I've been to a location of that restaurant here in the States, and it's good over there. It was good too. But yes, that was delicious and a cool way to end the night. The next day was our last day in Rio. My in-laws left early that morning, but the rest of the group wasn't leaving until the next day. So we spent the morning like at the beach, something super chill, and then went to another restaurant that was close to the Airbnb that had like wine and pasta, and so that was super yummy. I love wine and I love pasta, so very good. And that day was really chill. Just after that, it was more walking around the beach and then going back to the Airbnb to just pack up our stuff and be ready for the next day. We had dinner at a restaurant with some live music, so that was always fun. And then, yeah, just went back to the Airbnb and finished packing. Yeah, that was kind of it. The next morning, my husband, daughter, and I had to get up like really early to make it to the airport on time. It's always just like crazy traveling with kids because you have like so much stuff. Even if you try to pack light, you have so much stuff. We had our car seat or like pack and play, or she's riding in the stroller, and then we have like our actual luggage and the diaper bag. And yeah, so early morning travel. I think we were at the airport by like 4 in the morning or something, or 5 in the morning. And then we were going to Colombia to go see my family. So we make it to Colombia. We have to go through like immigration stuff, and then we meet up with my family. So my aunt and a cousin picked us up. It was actually the first time that I had seen them in like 11 years. My siblings and I used to go to Colombia, I would say maybe like fairly often, or at least a couple of times. And then the last time I went, I was like 18. We had gone for a few months in the summer, so we were there for a long time. And then just from there, I haven't had the chance to go back. I think I was gonna go one time when my husband and I kind of first started dating. We were gonna go, but my grandparents ended up passing away that year, and I just like couldn't bring myself to go there knowing that they wouldn't be there. I just mentally like wasn't ready for it, and so it ended up taking me a long time to go again. And there were definitely times throughout this trip where I was just thinking about my grandparents a lot and getting a little bit nostalgic. But anyway, so we make it, we get picked up. That first day, I think by the time we got there, it was like midday. It was pretty chill. All we really did that day was like go to the nail salon. I went and got my nails done. They do just such an awesome job, and the price is so much better than what you pay here in the States. The quality is so much better, so I kind of had a little like treat yourself moment, and I got my nails done. All the travel, like we had been traveling for over a week at that point, and so we're just like exhausted and ended up going to bed pretty early, like 9 o'clock, and it just felt great to just rest. The next day, we, wake up, we have some breakfast, and like the bread there is just like so good. Not bread, but like the like pan de bono or buñuelos. Like buñuelos. That's what I'm missing right now in my life. Like that's what I need. But loaded up on some food, and then we went to La Finca. My grandparents had a farm. Not really a farm, like a finca, like a farm, but no animals. And it's about like an hour-ish, an hour or two, I think an hour from like the city. And my aunt lives there now, and so my other aunt, and so we went over there to spend the day in La Finca. And the original plan was that we were gonna do like mini hiking and like check out the area and all that, but it was just really cloudy, and like whistling, so we ended up not doing that and just kind of hung out like on the land there, and it was still super gorgeous, like so peaceful, and I could really feel just like, I don't know, just good energy. And so even though we didn't get to do what we originally wanted to do because of the weather, it was still like a really healing moment for me, to just spend some time there. Next day was just like playing tourist. We went to so many different areas. It was my husband's first time there, and so my aunt and my cousin like really wanted to show him the city, and unfortunately we were only gonna be in the city or in Colombia for like 3 or 4 days. Not enough time at all. So it was just like jam-packed, which is why like in all the photos I feel like I'm wearing the same outfit, because like that's the day we did the most stuff. We went to like the outside of a church with a really nice view, and El Parque de los Gatos, like this park that just has a bunch of different statues of like cats. If you look up like things to do in Cali, Colombia, like we did all that, like we did the top 10 things to do or whatever, top 10 things to check out. So Cali, Colombia is really known for its salsa. One of the touristy things that we did is we went to this park that has these trumpets here. They play songs by El Grupo Nietzsche. Really cute little spot. We went to El Centro. We went to Loma de la Cruz. Like there, it pretty much just has a bunch of like artisano or artisan. I think it's in English called artisan, like stands with handmade stuff, so you could buy like trinkets or souvenirs or whatever. And so the only thing I bought were these really cute pair of earrings. I bought one for my sister-in-law, my mother-in-law, one for myself, and then another one for my mom. And they were like hand painted, like jewelry. It's like wooden and like hand painted. And the lady on the bag writes like how many hours it took, and like a pair of earrings could take like 4 hours because the detail. I got ones that look like orchids, and then for my mom I got her like a necklace that looks like, or that has a hummingbird on it, and it came with like a set of matching like earrings. I think I might have taken a picture of that. I'll look for it. Here's the name of the store over the So as I mentioned, all of the jewelry there is hand painted. Look at how beautiful these earrings are. Absolutely love them. As soon as I saw this little store, I'm like, yep, this is it. And here it says the name of the store again and how many hours it took her to paint or create these earrings. So these took 3 hours. If you're interested in looking up the shop, feel free to check them out. Obviously this is not sponsored. I just thought that these earrings were super cute. But yeah, super pretty. And then that night we went to a fancy restaurant. It was an Italian restaurant called Storia d'Amore. I don't know. But that was like super cool too. I don't know if I have the pictures that we took there, but really yummy food, and it was nice. It was good spending the day with my aunt and my cousin. I'm so grateful that they were able to just like take us everywhere, and like they literally spent the entire trip with us, and it just meant a lot that they did that. You know, they didn't have to do that, so it was just really cool. Then the fourth and final day there, we had a like mini family reunion. So the morning went by like crazy fast, just kind of getting ready and whatever. And then that evening, or like afternoon, late afternoonish, we went to this family reunion. My other cousin lives in a nice apartment complex that has a room that you can like rent out for events. And so we went there, and a lot of members of my family came, and we had music and food, and it was just like so nice seeing everyone. But a bummer that we weren't able to stay for longer. The day went by super fast. The wife of one of my cousins actually baked was pretty much it. We After the party, we went to my cousin's apartment and he showed us like the view. From there, we just went back to my aunt's house and packed. The next morning, we had to leave for the airport at like 3 in the morning, and that was the end of our vacation. It was an amazing time, but it was a really long trip. I think overall we were there for a little under 3 weeks, maybe like 18. It was about 2.5 weeks. And I don't know about you, but whenever I come back from a vacation that long, I'm just like exhausted and so happy to finally sleep in my own bed with my own pillow. So I think if we were to do a big trip again, like, we probably wouldn't be gone for that long, and we would only go to like one country instead of going to like 3 different countries and like 5 different cities. Although it was again a really good experience overall. So that finally got to